Hi, everybody. Welcome to Running to Win. My name is Kim White, and I am the host of Running to Win. It's so great to have you back with me this week. This is a monumental week. It's a big week. We have been doing a series for the last, I believe this is probably week 15 or 16 now, called Recognizing and Destroying the Enemies of Your Destiny. And then in brackets, we had It's Not People. We have talked about many, many things. I'm just going to quickly go over a few of them. We've talked about low self-image. We've talked about offense. We've talked about unforgiveness, being unteachable, not submitted, disobedient, distracted, fear of failure. We talked about burnout. We talked about the passion being gone. And within those, we talked a little bit about weariness, about not looking after ourselves and everything. And the last one that I'm going to talk about, because I do have a release in my spirit that this is it for this particular series, and I did not beat the overall longest running series on Kingdom First TV, but I gave it a good run for it. But once the Holy Spirit stops giving you areas of a particular series to talk about, you're done, because you don't want to go on without the Lord. I'm excited today just to represent Love and Unity Movement, Kingdom First TV. It's an honor to be one of their broadcasters on this broadcast, and as well, I have a worship broadcast that airs on Tuesday nights, and it's a joy and an honor to be able to be Glory Unveiled Worship Sessions worship leader for that. So I've been so honored, so blessed by this ministry to give me the opportunities that they have. I don't take it for granted. I'm grateful. And in return, before we get going and finishing up the series, I'm just going to mention the website that Kingdom First TV is found on. If you would go to www.love-unity.org, you're going to find out all about Love and Unity Movement, which is a powerful, powerful ministry that right now is based out of Pomona, California, but is really going into all the world. Not just through Kingdom First TV in the programs, but also through various conferences and convergence. The Philippines, they've had one here in Canada. They have a big one coming up June 26th through 28th in California. There's, I believe, a regional one, if it hasn't happened yet, that's happening in Texas. They're going to the Philippines the very end of this month into the 1st of May. You can find out information about all of those on that website that you will see on the screen there right below me. And as well, be able to go on there and kick down some of those little top tabs up there. There's Kingdom First TV one will have all the broadcasters, all the various broadcasts, and all of the episodes thus far on each of those. But as well, under those tabs, you're going to be able to see what Love and Unity Movement is all about, what it means. You're going to be able to as well go on there and we have a prayer service at the beginning of each month, the first Saturday of every month, a corporate prayer. It's led by Prophet Margie Florent, who is in the New England area, and it is a powerful time of prayer. That's her calling. She is called to pray, and she leads in prayer. It's a powerful time. There's just so much. I could spend my entire episode actually telling you all about Kingdom First TV, how wonderful I think it is, all the things it offers. I really encourage you to check out that website. And also, you might be somebody who has a calling to broadcasting. I do believe broadcasting is a calling. And you may not know of a platform. You might think, I have all this in my heart. I feel like this is something I'm called to, but I don't know where to start. I invite you to contact Love and Unity Movement, contact Kingdom First TV, talk to their producer, talk to the Apostle Eddie, who's the head over all of it, and see what they have to offer. See if it's a good fit for you, and just start doing. We need to start doing the things that God's called us to do. And here's what I found out: if I'm willing to do it, God has always opened doors for me. I look at the things that God has allowed me to do. Here I go off on a different subject here. I gotta get back to my series. But I look at the things that God has allowed me to do, the things that I'm passionate about, and I didn't lift a finger to ask for any of them. I made myself available. Availability is one of the biggest things that you will need next to, of course, to a great relationship with God. But availability, make your life available to God. See what He wants to do through you. I could have carried this series actually for another week and talked about availability, but we won't do that. We're going to close this baby up today for our very last topic, subtopic under recognizing and destroying the enemies of your destiny. And I had in brackets, it's not people. Most of the times, it's not people that take us out of our calling, that take us out. It's things within us that we have to deal with. And pretty much all the ones that I've talked about here, I have dealt with. But this area here is probably a biggie for me. I'm the person that goes around my phone in my hand all the time. I have a calendar in there. I have a notebook in there. I have a list of things. I'm constantly typing things in while people are talking to remind myself. And when I set up something that I have to do, I have like 6 reminders because I also have 14 other things that have 6 reminders. So my life kind of, if my phone ever gets lost or breaks, I'm in trouble. But one of the areas that I struggle with is overcommitment. And a lot of times when I talk to people in ministry, they will agree with that and say, I love what I do, but I can't handle it. There's just so much. There's so much, right? I find whenever somebody invites me to do something, I have an option of saying yes or no. It took me a long time to be able to say the word, no, I'm sorry, I can't. And it wasn't because I wanted to say no. It wasn't because it was not an awesome opportunity. It simply was because somewhere along the line, especially as I get older, I had to learn I can't do everything and do it well, and it will take me right out of ministry. It will tire me out. It will wear me out, and I won't be able to do anything well. So but this is constantly something. As soon as I say I'm gonna not book as many things, suddenly it will be an opportunity to book, and then at the end of that, I'm like, oh my, what have I done? So I would say this is definitely an enemy that I have battled. As I get older, and I'm in my mid 60s now, I find I can't do what I did 10, 15, 20 years ago. I might have more time to do it now that my kids are grown, but I don't have the energy. I don't have the stamina. I simply don't have the ability to do it as much anymore. But I have a mind that never stops thinking. I would say probably part of my calling is creative. I have a creative calling, and I'm the type of person I can build things, I can envision them, I can create them. I get ideas all the time. Probably in a secular world, I might have been an inventor. I don't know, but I can sit down and I can plan an entire conference in just 2 or 3 hours. That's my thing. I love to build. I love to plan. And I love to execute the plan. And also, unfortunately, I have a bit of a perfectionist attitude. I have a certain way that I like to do things, but I'm always trying to do it better. Sometimes we can become so wrapped up in being perfect. We can be so wrapped up in doing something, have to have it just so that it just sucks all the joy right out of it, and it just wears us out. Sometimes I've planned things and I've been so meticulous in planning it, and I put so much effort into planning it that when the actual event happened, I didn't enjoy it because I was so tired from planning it. I was so tired from all the things I had to deal with with having to have everything just so that when the time came, I found myself just like, oh man, my energy's gone, it's sapped, right? So really what it was, that desire to have everything perfect and that desire to be committed to all those extra things, it was really taking away my joy and my ability to be able to do things. As I get older, and I hate saying those words, as I get older, but the truth is I'm getting older, and time becomes more precious. If you're maybe in your 20s or 30s or even 40s, you might not understand that as much. But when you begin to get more into my age and upward, you begin to recognize more and more the preciousness of time. You begin to recognize what do I really want to accomplish. You begin to narrow down what really is the top things that I'm called to do. And I've said to God, I say probably numerous times in the last, I would say 5 years, which has really been 5 years has probably been the time when I've become aware that I don't have the energy I had back in my 30s and 40s. But I began to say to God, God, I don't think I can do everything I want to do, but what do you want me to do? What do you want me to be committed to? And sometimes He's required me to say no to things and I've been a little bit ticked with God because, well, I know, God, I told you to tell me what not to do, but I wanted really to do that one, and sometimes I've gone ahead and done something, even though He has kind of said no to it because it's something I really love doing. I mean, I'm a human being, right? And I've regretted it. I regretted it because God knew I wasn't supposed to do that. But as I said, as time gets older and it becomes more precious, I need to be about my Father's business. I need to be committed to the things that are the Father's business instead of Kim's business, or every other business that someone thinks I should be involved in. I also realized something, and I don't like saying this, but the years ahead of me are much less than the years behind me now. Now that kind of sounds sad. Don't sit there and feel bad for me or whatever. We're all getting older as we speak, but the years ahead of me are less than the years behind me. So I find that there are goals and specific dreams that I want to accomplish, and there are goals and dreams that I know that the Lord wants me to accomplish. I recently had somebody that contacted me and they asked me if everything was okay, because they hadn't seen me at a lot of things. I wasn't really going out and doing much outside of my church. I was staying close to home and everything. And they were checking on me to see if I was okay because I was always at everything. Even if I wasn't in it, I was supporting it. I was supporting what the people were doing. I wanted to. I've always had that mentality of working together with people, of bolstering other people's visions and callings and stuff as well. So, but they were looking out for me. They thought something must be wrong because I simply was not. I wasn't out and about like I had been. But I explained to them, I just feel like I'm in a season in my life, and I knew the Holy Spirit had spoken to me back about probably 6 to 8 months ago or more. You're in a season where I want you to stay close to home. And I knew I had to be obedient to that. I could feel myself wearing out. I could feel myself getting caught up in too many things. And I knew I was at a time that, for the sake of me being able to do what I needed to do at my home church and to be available to my pastor and the vision of this church, that I had to not commit to things, as many things. It was hard. It was hard. It was hard to go on Facebook Lives and things like this and see all the people that I had ministered with doing other things. It was hard to see things happening in various places and to have to say, no, I can't go, or make the decision to stay close to home. But it's even harder when you're not obedient to God. And really, not overcommitting is really being obedient to God, because if we ask the Lord, if we involve Him in our choices, in our decisions, He will answer us. He will lead us. He will guide us. It's important to do what God wants us doing in this hour, not just what we want to do. There have been powerful prophetic words that have been spoken over my life, accurate prophetic words. Now, I've received prophetic words over my life that I've kind of put on the back shelf. There's been some that people have spoken over me, and I've just known, that maybe that was not for me. And I could discern that. But there are words that have been spoken over my life, by reliable and accurate people. And I know in my spirit there's things for me to accomplish to fulfill those. And I can't fulfill those if I'm off fulfilling something else. So I have to find that fine line of honor that makes people in ministries understand, I love you, I'm for you, I'm celebrating you, I'm praying for you. Because I'm not physically there doesn't mean that I don't want you to go forward and win. It's just simply right now God's calling me over here and you guys are over there. So I've had to make decisions, and it's not been an easy thing, but there's nothing that's more important than being in the will of God. even in this series, I'm sure that I've gone through a complete ink cartridge in our printer with changing and rearranging and rethinking the teachings and stuff, because as I allowed, I guess I would say one of the things in doing this particular broadcast, I'm a worshiper, so my other broadcast, I sit at the keyboard and I just worship, and it's recorded. I'm off in the Holy Spirit land, and I'm not really paying attention to anything. But this requires a little bit more planning. It requires more preparation. It also requires me to look inside. Sometimes I don't want to do that, but it requires me to rethink some things. So it requires me to look at, God, what do you really want me doing in this season of my life? God is committed to us fulfilling our destiny. But sometimes we're not sure of our commitment. Sometimes our eyes are maybe pulled to another direction because it looks more promising. It looks more fun. It's a nicer crowd of people. It's a bigger platform. Sometimes we looked at something that might even seem more secure. We know that if we were to join up with that ministry, our future would be set. We know that if we were to link arms with a certain thing, that we would never have to walk alone again. And we are looking for something that looks secure. So then we begin to add on some of these great things and say, well, God, it's great, it's going to accomplish great things, it must be you, it must be you. Yes, that call, that vision is probably full of God, more than likely it is, but maybe it's not for me. So I have to recognize what God is up to and lay aside what I want to do. Because the biggest enemy of my calling can be, as I mentioned, being over there when God wanted me over here. It can be a distraction. Sometimes great things come to distract us from the perfect will of God. I also have found in examining all of this and making sure that I'm in His will, and I'm doing exactly what He wants me to do, I have realized I cannot gauge God's plan. I can't foretell what God is wanting to accomplish with the things that He has me do or brings me to. I wish there was a scene by scene play in front of my face. This is going to be next, 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 next. I wish I knew it was going, but I can't. I'm a planner, so I want that baby all mapped out. I want it all planned out. I want a 45 bulletin list of step by step instructions and exactly what's going to happen, but that's not what He has. So I want to be so committed to everything, and maybe I could fit this in on a Tuesday at 5 if I do this Tuesday at 7:30, and I want to know the next step, and because I'm a planner, I confess. My name is Kim White, and I'm a planner, and I'm an organizer, and I need to know what the plan is. And I'm at a Planners Anonymous meeting right now. I'm at a needing to have my ducks in a row help meeting right now. I want to know what next. Here's an illustration. My husband and I'm a planner. I've got a list, as I mentioned. I've got bulletin points. My husband is total opposite. Sometimes he'll say, let's go somewhere. Well, I'll say where. Well, I don't know yet. We'll just get the car and see where we go. Well, I don't want to do that. I want to know, are we going to the shore? Do I need to have a heavier sweater? Should I pack a lunch? I need to know. I need to know the details. I need to have it all planned minute by minute. My husband's the opposite. He goes, yeah, we'll go soon. It could be 3 hours later before we even get in the car. Meanwhile, for 2.5 hours, I've been sitting there. I've got my bag. I've got an extra pair of shoes in case these shoes aren't appropriate for where we're going. I've scoured. If I have a rough idea of where we're going, I've scoured the areas for where it's a good eating place, things like that. If it's winter, I've scoured the website to see what the weather is. I've got all my ducks in a row, all planned out. And he's just there, sitting there on the couch and watching a little bit of wrestling or something, and then he's going to get up. But let's go. And that's how he is, right? And sometimes I struggle with that. I want to know the details. Sometimes God is like my husband is. He says we're going somewhere, but he doesn't give us any details. We just know we're going. We just know we have to follow. When my husband goes up to the door to his car, the boys and I, we get on our boots. If it's winter, we get on our coat. We go, we follow him up the door. We follow the car. We get in and we buckle ourselves in for the ride. We don't know where it's going. We go out to the highway. I know I have a little bit more of a clue if he's going north or if he's going south. And then from there, it's just, you just end up where you end up, right? But God is like that. He doesn't give us all the details. And I found out the reason he doesn't give us the details is because he knows we can't handle the full scope of it. God knows that I can't handle knowing the whole thing. There's this old movie years ago. The guy says, the truth, you can't handle the truth. And sometimes God is saying, the plan, you can't handle the plan. If I was tell you the entire plan right now, you would freak out. I know now, excuse me, even with my life right now, if 5 years ago somebody said, Kim, you're going to do this and this, this and this and this, I would have told them they were nuts. I wouldn't have been able to handle it. So that's kind of how we are. God knows what we can handle. He said, I'll never give you more than you can handle. But sometimes we really we want to know the ups and downs. We want to know the what's going on. We don't think that that's part of it, but it is. So he doesn't want to give us too much of it because we can't handle the scope of it, especially if we're younger or newer in ministry. I put that in there when I was writing my notes. When you're younger or newer in ministry, God's not going to give somebody that's a baby the adult revelation of what's going on. He understands that there are things that can throw you, things that can. Many people have actually not continued in ministry because they were thrown into something they weren't ready for. But things that were things that are nothing for me to handle right now is an illustration of that. When I was in my younger years in ministry, they were a huge deal. There are things right now that I know exactly what to do. I know how to react to them. I know how to handle them. And back, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, I was a train wreck, with something like that. But I had to learn. I had to mature. I had to step into a place where God could share with me. See, God knows our hearts. He knows our maturity. He knows what we can handle. And he's not going to share stuff with us that will have us running off. He knows our hearts. He knows the contents of our hearts, right? There are things if God had told me 10 years ago that I was going to be doing today, I probably would have ran away. Well, I find with God, it's kind of on a need to know basis. And he kind of sometimes says to us, and you don't need to know right now. But I want to know right now. And he's saying, you don't need to know that right now. One of the highest qualities that we will have to develop, and you will have to develop in ministry, is trust. It's trust in God and the ability to rest in his plan. I see maybe glimpses more of that in myself today than I did maybe even 5 years ago. I feel a calmness that comes into my heart, even in times of turmoil. You see, the more that God does for us, the more that he leads us, the more that he guides us, the more we know his voice. But the more things that he takes us through, the more we understand that he can take us through, that he will take us through, that he will take us to the other side. Sometimes we can feel really insecure in our ministries because we don't have the faith in God's ability to lead and guide us. And as I've mentioned before in other programs, and as well maybe even earlier, we begin to overload ourselves when we do that. We begin to just do everything because we don't even know God's voice. Did you know in the hardest times of my life, I learned his voice? In the times of the most uncertainty in my life, I learned his voice. In the times of the biggest attacks in my life, I learned his voice. And now I know his voice. I don't always like what he says, but I know his voice. You see, in all of this series, the biggest enemy of our destiny will be not knowing God's voice. It will be not having the ability to tune into our spirit and know his voice. It will be our inability to obey without questioning. All of those things require maturity. They require maturity in our mind. They require maturity in our spirit. They require us to grow up. There came a time in my life that I understood that the biggest enemy of my destiny would be me never growing up, me never maturing, me never moving forward, me never taking instruction. Those would be the things that would stop me, that would keep me insecure, that would keep me with a lack of faith in God's ability. That fear of rejection, that fear that if I say no, there'll be nothing else. And a lot of times because of that, what happens? We will knock on doors we were never meant to knock on. We will go searching for ministry because we have not learned to rest in his plan, and we have not learned to be able to understand his timing, and therefore we feel like we have to make it happen. So that is the end of this series. I pray that this has helped somebody. Even in teaching this series, it's enabled me throughout this series to see things that I know I need to brush up on. That even today, even teaching these two things today, I now see things that I have to really spend some time with the Lord on, and I have to adjust. It takes a heart adjustment. It takes a heart adjustment. It takes us adjusting our heart to his plan, adjusting our vision to his plan, adjusting our timing to God's plan. And, when we have things said about the great things we're going to do, when we receive, prophetic words over our lives, we can often become impatient, and we can, as I said, I'm getting older. I'm saying, well, God, what about this? What about this? What about this? Things that I know he said, he's promised, but he will do it in his timing. God will fulfill his plan in your life in his timing. He will take you to the end of your destiny. He will keep you on the right road. He will fulfill everything that he has spoken over your life. He will bring the right people into your life. He will open doors like you would never imagine. There was something that happened. I'm just going to finish with this. If you followed this broadcast at all, I've shared a lot about my life. I've shared about the fact that there were some years of my life that I didn't do well, that I was away from the Lord, and there was a lot of years that I didn't do well early on in Bible college and after Bible college and things. My friend contacted me last week, and there was a get together of a bunch of alumni from my Bible school, some teachers, some of my classmates, other people that had been at school when I was there, and I was unable to go. I had been away so much in the previous month that I had committed to myself I would not go and do anything else, and I just was feeling tired and that I needed to rest. And she sent me a note the next day, and she said, everybody was talking about you last night. And I went, oh no, what are they talking about, right? But when she shared that, one of the things that she said was that one of my instructors was ever in Bible college, and I was in trouble all the time in Bible college. I would have probably been the one voted least likely to ever fulfill God's destiny for my life. And he said these words. He says, I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of how she's let God use her. And I realized something, that if I can just stay in God's plan, even through all the rough periods of my life, and you might be listening and you might have had some rough periods in your life and you don't even know how to get back on track. But I'm going to tell you, find somebody that will help you. Go to church, go to your pastor, find a spiritual leader that will invest their time in you. Because I'm only where I am today. I'm only doing what I'm doing today because people believed in me. This ministry of love and unity has believed in me. They've given me a platform. My pastor has believed in me. He's given me a platform. Through all the mistakes, through all the wrong times, the wrong decisions in my life, and everything where I didn't accomplish great things, God He still moved me forward. He still gave me opportunities. He still gave me more chances. And He still said, Kim, you can fulfill your destiny. And I'm saying to you today, who are listening, you can still fulfill your destiny. God has a plan for your life. Don't let the enemy steal it. Amen. God bless you. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for watching Kingdom First TV.